Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the SMRI Productions Grand National Series on the Elite Racing Network. I am Ryan Gavell, and alongside me doing productions as well as Jordan Owens. And tonight we are at the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway in Miami, Florida. Looking forward to an exciting race here on the High Line Special mile-and-a-half Speedway, high-banked. A lot of fun at this racetrack, especially with the new build with these Xfinity-type cars running up against the wall. This is a 100-lap, 150-mile event, and it's sure to be a good race. This is the Tilson 150 at Homestead. Qualifying has just gotten underway. I want to do a quick shout-out to our race sponsor of Tilson, and Tilson knows firsthand how optimized human resources can transform a business and help lay the foundation for sustained success. We have developed the systems, tools, programs, and methodologies in a lean process environment supported by experienced professionals committed to helping our clients control costs, increase productivity, and outperform competition. Again, I want to thank Tilson for coming on board here for tonight's Tilson 150 at the Homestead Miami Speedway. And like I said again, qualifying has just gotten underway. Now, Jordan, this is a 100-lap race, should be fairly short. And what do you have in mind of what we're going to see here on this racetrack tonight?
Well, honestly, I think if it goes, the way that things have gone in the past here at Homestead, if they can make it through the first couple of laps without any incidents, we could see a very long green flag race, kind of like we saw at Texas. So that's what I'm hoping for. I like it when the green flag strategy plays out with pit stops and stuff. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you that these long green flag run races can be fun. This is the second straight week on a mile-and-a-half. Rockingham was 2 races ago, which is close to it, even though it's only a mile in length. It races a lot like a mile-and-a-half with the high banks. But now at Homestead Miami Speedway, same length as last week as at Texas, 150 miles. That race saw 1 caution on lap number 1, and we went the rest of the way green, about 95 laps. So that was definitely a really cool race, which was qualified on pole and won by Scott Crump, who qualifies third as we speak. Damien Linenger just put up a second fastest lap time, but R.C. Enerson currently is the fastest man here in qualifying with just over a minute to go in the session. So still a little while left here. A lot of guys still making time, as you see Tyler Fody and Scott Crump trying to put up a little bit of a faster time. Not sure if he'll be able to do so, but definitely looking forward to a great race here tonight for the SMRI Productions Grand National Series for the Elite Racing League. And another important thing tonight is race number 9 on the schedule of 11 regular season races. So this is the third to last race of the regular season we have tonight at Homestead. Next week is 200 miles at Darlington, and in 2 weeks time is the regular season finale at the Martinsville Speedway, and that race is 150 laps. So we'll talk more about the chase grid once we get going in this race. Qualifying still ticking through, and we just saw 3 Lake Norman Motorsports drivers qualify 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So very impressive runs by those guys, but R.C. Enerson currently sitting in the pole position, but we do expect that he may be getting a EOL penalty. And oh man, just as the clock strikes midnight, Chris Wright puts up a flyer, a 34.064, over half of a tenth of a second faster than R.C. Enerson's time that was on pole. And man, he crossed the stripe as that clock hit 0 and barely got that lap to count. So Chris Wright picks up an unexpected pole, still has yet to win a race this season, has Chris Wright in the number 69 car. That is his first pole of the season. So excited to see how he'll do tonight at the Homestead Miami Speedway. But cars are hitting the grid now. Excited to get this one going.
Yeah, Chris Wright, I know he hadn't won a race yet, but he's been up front just about every single week. So it's not really a surprise to see him take pole.
Yeah, definitely not. He currently sits 4th place in the point standings, and he is the highest driver in the point standings without a win, with 1 point over Chuck Sweeting, who sits 5th in the point standings, also without a victory. But as we see EOLs getting handed out, I expect that R.C. Enerson, who qualified second, will get one. So he'll start at the rear, which will move Hank Steinmiller up to the front row. One guy who was really rooting for R.C. to get the pole was Damien Linenger, who was sitting third and now will have to start third behind Chris Wright. It actually would have been Hank Steinmiller starting third, and he would have moved up to the front row on the bottom with the EOL for RC, but now he'll have to start on the outside of the front row. But here's your starting lineup on your screen. The guy who won the last two poles, Scott Crump, will start in the 6th position. As you scroll on through the starting lineup, we have 36 cars in the session. Only 31 took time. I expect 35 starters here for tonight's event.
Yeah, that's about our typical field size here as of late, so it should be a good.
Yes, it is, and usually, it tends to dwindle down little by little as the season goes on, but that is as expected in any league that you'll see. But still a fantastic car count here tonight at Homestead Miami Speedway, and definitely a track that since the new build has really gained in popularity with how well the racing is here, especially on the top groove.
Yeah, just having the option of multiple lanes and so many more doors and possibilities for you. You can actually go into a turn with the mindset of just going wherever the car in front of you doesn't go and still be fast. But, it really opens up the opportunities you have as a driver to make your way through a field.
So here we go with half a lap to green, only one pace lap as the field is going to merge together here down the back straightaway. I'm not seeing anything on a EOL on the 50, but what you're seeing on the screen, number 7 of R.C. Enerson, so maybe he will be able to keep his starting spot. So no EOL there, but either way, it is Chris Wright on the pole here tonight for the Tilson 150 for the SMRI Productions Grand National Series, and race number 9 of the season is set to go green as the pace car drops into pit lane, and the green flag is in the air. We are underway at Homestead Miami Speedway.
And Chris Wright with a great jump there as they go into one.
Now we saw cold tires bite a couple of guys at Texas, and it almost just bit Chris Wright as he slides, and we got 2, 3, 4 cars crashing in the back of the field. We're going to have a quick caution, and we got one car on its roof in turn number 2. That is Mark Keeler in number 08 Speed51.TV machine on his roof. Also Chuck Sweeting involved. He's a big points contender. Harrison Talon involved. Chad Thornquist with damage. Multiple cars early on. We'll have to see what caused that one.
I'm working on finding it here.
Started in the rear of the field. Harrison Talon and Chad Thornquist did some synchronized spinning, and there was just nowhere for multiple cars to go, including Mark Keeler.
Yeah, here, I'll have it now. We have the Stay Tuned Sports replay here with us. So you'll see Chad Thornquist and Harrison Talon spin basically simultaneously here on the outside line.
Yeah, there was your accident. You saw some synchronized spinning that led to some synchronized flying. Mark Keeler, Harrison Talon, and others.
Not the way some of these drivers wanted the race to start, that's for sure. But, this is something we saw in Texas, too. We have to put caution to start the race.
Yeah, not something that's super surprising even at a clean track. Cold tires is all it takes, and it can bite somebody. Chuck Sweeting and Chad Thornquist have already retired from this race, which is big. Chuck Sweeting comes in here. He's not locked into the playoffs at all. He is in a really good position points-wise with only 3 races left, but he's going to take a very small amount of points for this race, more than likely a drop week. His drop coming into this was 17 points, so that's what he will score. So, interesting to note there. But we'll have to see where the points fall out for him after tonight, because he came into tonight's race, 5th in the point standings, has yet to win, plus 67 on the cutoff line. The top 14 cars make the chase. So we'll have to see how that falls out, but Chad Thornquist, Chuck Sweeting, Mark Keeler already out of this race.
Looks like at the 1 to go here. We'll be getting back to green pretty shortly.
So 1 lap to green here, and you saw Chris Wright go on a bit of a slide through turns 1 and 2 on the cold tires, and R.C. Enerson was able to pounce and get the run out of 2 right as the caution came out. He is your new leader. So R.C. Enerson will be the control car for the restart. Enerson on the inside, Chris Wright on the outside. Wright didn't even, I don't think, officially lead a lap. So he didn't get a bonus point for leading a lap yet. You do get a bonus point for taking the pole, and Chris Wright comes into tonight as the highest driver in points without a win, plus 68, so he's sitting in really good shape already. So maybe points not the biggest concern, but he just wants to bring home maybe one more good, solid top 5, top 10 finish, and he'll pretty much be all but locked in heading into the final 2 races of the regular season. But here we go. Pace car is going to drop in again. It's going to be 4 laps complete at the line. Still 96 laps to go. Green flag back in the air. R.C. Enerson has taken off, and he is clear into the lead, and the battle is on for second on back as they barrel into turn number 1.
Damien Linenger got a pretty good jump there following R.C. Trying to take second from Chris Wright. Battle will be for third now.
Down the back straightaway, Tyler Fody and Damien Linenger are both going to get by Chris Wright as he falls through the field early, your pole sitter, all the way back into 4th position, and we are about to finish our first lap under green as you see cars doing what we expected, and that's using multiple grooves of this racetrack. In qualifying, the top line was supposedly the fastest, but as you see here, once we get underway, you got Damien running the middle. You got Tyler Fody and R.C. Enerson toward the top of the track, Chris Wright on the bottom, Thomas Sherman on the bottom, Hank Steinmiller on the top. You got guys all over the place using different lines to take advantage of this racetrack. And we got trouble on the back straightaway. Not sure we're going to get a caution for that one. It was Jari Bruberscher in the inside wall, going to stay green.
There's Jari getting it going.
It's toward the back of the field. Not sure if he had contact with anyone else, but he spun to the inside wall, and it did not trigger a caution flag.
Back up front, R.C. starting to gap Damien Linenger just a little bit, about up half a second.
And I already saw one car get a piece of the wall. Running up top was Scott Crump, who is on a decline through the field. Started 6th, currently 12th, or he was 12th across the line. He continues to fade. That is the guy who won the pole and the race in the last 2 races. So he has been on quite the roll, but currently not looking too hot right now. But with those wins, he has locked himself in the chase.
And he's running with the whole gaggle of cars back here from about 10th on back.
Really tight racing going on right now between teammates Tyler Fody and Damien Linenger. And that is a heated battle for second. And the way this track works with the multiple grooves, you can battle like this side by side and not lose as much time as you would. Oh, and they're going to make contact. Damien ran a little lower than he had been. He didn't run all the way up against the wall. He was about a lane off of it, and Tyler Fody slid up into him. But they're going to hang on to it. But what I was saying was, you can run side by side, and both drivers could still be running in their preferred lane, and they really don't lose as much time as you would as, say, a single groove track like maybe Texas, where we were last week. So these guys still not too far off of R.C. Enerson, but he is still pulling out to a pretty solid advantage here over Damien Linenger and Tyler Fody, 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that Homestead is very reminiscent to Atlanta. Tire wear is going to play a significant factor.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
You know, it can play in some guys' hands. You know, guys like Tyler Fody are really good on the long runs, so you just have to give it 20, 25 laps and check back here when it comes to who's setting off the fastest laps.
It's going to be interesting to see how this goes if we get a long run. already so far into this run, I think if we were to get a caution at this point, we'd see guys come in for 4 fresh tires. There's enough tires that these guys have in the pits that I really highly doubt that it'll be an issue on the long run. You have 3 sets of tires in the pits, and if this does go green the whole way like it did at Texas, expect a very similar strategy, except for Texas maybe isn't so bad on tire wear compared to here at Homestead, so maybe more guys will try the short pit strategy compared to Texas, where majority of guys stretched it thin on fuel. So you could probably go over 60, 65 laps, but expect guys to come down closer to lap 50 halfway as we come around here to complete 11 laps. R.C. Enerson started second, but has led them all.
Yeah, and you know, the tire wear here is so bad, depending on, you know, what's going on for a driver, they may even debate short pitting and doing 2 pit stops. That's, you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility to try that, like a 40, 80, and then 22 minutes. But you gotta have a lot of way for that not to backfire on you.
That is exactly what I was about to say, is the majority of people who try that are just going out on a limb trying something different, and if you get the caution to fly at the perfect moment, you're in golden shape, which if I know you were in the Cup race at Pocono, I think it was Colin Fern who was running second, decided to try a short pit strategy, a 2-stop, when everyone else was stretching it on fuel, and he got a caution about 30 seconds too late. He lost the lead and wound up second right when a caution came out. So, I mean, in the end, he got lucky, because if it went green the whole way, he probably would have been in a lot worse shape than he had been. But looking back up here in the front of the field, Damien Linenger is reeling in R.C. Enerson. He's chopped about 3 or 4 tenths of a second off the lead in the last couple of laps here, as R.C. Enerson continues to run right on that groove toward the outside line, about a car width off the wall, kind of diamonding the corner almost. And Damien Linenger, as well as Chris Wright, run a lot closer to the bottom of the track, maybe a lane or 2 off the bottom.
Get to watch Damien and Chris here as they go through turn 3 and turn 4. See, they're about 1 seam up on the track, whereas RC is right near the wall. They gained more time that lap.
Yeah, that time by another tenth of a second, chopped out of the lead by both Damien Linenger and Chris Wright, running right down on that bottom seam when you see R.C. Enerson on the top seam. Not too many guys are exactly running dead smack against the wall like you see guys like Noah Gragson run in real life, but these guys are definitely running higher up on the track. Look at that. Damien Linenger gained a ton of time right there. He's got a chance here, and the thing is since he's running this bottom line, not only is that helping him gain on RC, it's going to help him pass, because he has a ton of speed down there, and RC running the top is the better line when it comes to defense. But man, Damien Linenger is rolling that bottom so well right now. He might have him here to 3 and 4. He's at his quarter panel into turn number 3. We'll see if Damien has the speed to chop up in front of R.C. Enerson, who's going to get a little loose out of turn 4. Damien Linenger going to power by R.C. Enerson into the lead. First lead change of the race, and it's Damien Linenger out front. A big name here when it comes to the battle for the chase. He comes into this race 26 points outside of the cutoff line, which currently sits with Josh Robin, who sits 14th in the point standing. He is 26 points out of Josh Robin's lead, and here he is leading a lap in this race as a bonus point, and he's going to try to finish as well as he can, or maybe even pick up the win, the first of his season. He won one last season at Talladega, and he's going for his first win of the season here for Lake Norman Motorsports in that number 12, the Batfoot Podcast Chevrolet Camaro.
Looks like Chris Wright's going to try and follow me by RC here.
Yeah, definitely a good bounce back here after a disappointing first couple of laps for Chris Wright, the pole sitter. But he has bounced back to the inside of RC. I'm wondering if RC is just not wanting to try the bottom because of comfort and how he feels up on the top. He just likes the top. Maybe he's saving tires. Not sure exactly what his plan is, because even if he is saving tires, I still think he's dropping off at a really high rate of speed right now. Maybe a little faster than he should be, as he's falling back pretty quick here. But he's still side by side with Chris Wright here, not giving up as they catch a lap car here, which is going to play into Chris Wright's favor. We'll see if he gives RC room or forces him up behind Jari Bruperscher here, who's got some damage. Jari's going to do the right thing and hold his line up against the wall, forcing these guys to move to the inside. RC's going to back out of it, and Chris Wright's going to get lucky with that lap car and move up into the second position. RC Enerson third, Tyler Fode fourth, and then a bit of a gap back into the fifth position of Ethan Burrell, who's up from 10th. He runs fifth.
Yeah, Ethan's had a pretty good run to start the race here. His teammate Matthew Weeks is right behind him.
Yeah, Sherman in a must-win situation coming into tonight's race. Had a great season last year and has had the worst luck this season. 24th in the point standings right now, without a win, with only 2 top 10s on the season and quite a few DNFs as well. So looking for a big bounce back here as Sherman has moved into the top 5. Started 15th to Jared Rexing in the Nesquik number 10. That's a big mover right now. Up now 9 positions. So a really strong start for Jared Rexing.
Let's see, back up front, looks like Damien Linenger about a second between him and Chris Wright.
Yeah, pretty good gap there that he gained while Wright and Enerson went at it.
Enerson's dropped about a second and a half or so off the lead. Do agree, he's falling back a little quicker than probably what he would like, even if he is saving tires.
Yeah, I'm not sure what his exact plan is here. I'm not sure if he's saving that on purpose or not. I'm going to honestly think not, because I mean, these guys are racing to lap around 50-55 if you're splitting this race with a one-stop strategy. And I mean, we've only got, we're almost a quarter of the way into this race, halfway on, what is it? Oh, we got trouble in the back, and it's Matthew Weeks. Oh my goodness, what a save. Anders Krohn and Weeks got together. Weeks hasn't quite saved it yet. He might want to spin out, but he's going to hold on to it here. He got into Anders Krohn at a turn 2. I didn't see what started it, but man, I thought they had it spun. And they saved it, the 2 of them.
Yeah, I got it right here. We'll go with the Stay Tuned Sports replay. Basically, we got a 3-wide situation, and he just got a little...
Yeah, what's going to happen here is Matthew Weeks was in the middle, and his teammate, the 37, is, wow, what a save by the 2 of them.
Yeah.
His teammate in the 37 on the outside there, Ethan Burrell, had a run off the top, and Weeks was clear, but gave Burrell the lane up top to get the run, and Anders Krohn didn't think he would, and he slid up as if Weeks was going to go to the wall, and he got into him. They both saved it. But definitely some damage to both Anders Krohn in the right front and Matthew Weeks on the left side.
Yeah, I'd say they're both just happy to still be in the race after something that big. That's enough to get your heart beating.
Yeah, it was a pretty big piece of contact there. 4-4.
While all that happened, Tyler Fode got that RC up in third. It's like RC slowly venturing down the track into turns as well. He moved down about a seam where he was earlier.
Yeah, definitely trying to make something happen. You see the majority of the field running about a lane off the bottom right now. Right on top of that bottom seam. That's where Damien's running right now, and most of the field has moved off the wall. But definitely on the short run, you see a lot more guys running in multiple grooves. But once this run goes on, they ride in the bottom of the track, ride in that bottom seam about a lane or 2 off the bottom.
Yeah, that makes me feel pretty good about myself. I think I said on the long run, the bottom would get a little bit quicker.
You definitely did. You called that one. I also wanted to give an update. Andrew Rucker got some damage on the lap 1 accident. He is out of the race and will finish 33rd. He came into this race 38 points out of the chase, so that very well could put him in a must-win situation. Also, wanted to mention that the number 8 car of Josh Robin was a no-show tonight, and he came in here to this race +2, dead last in the chase coming in tonight, and his drop week right now is a 1-point last place finish, so that's what he's going to take as a provisional, and his drop week will now be a 0-point missed race, so that's a pretty big hurt for Josh Robin, and a big advantage for guys who are here like Josh Clark and others who are not far behind here, so that's going to take a lot of things up when it comes to the chase grid. That's exactly how it turns out, as I do know Josh Clark is here. Joseph Causey is the other one I'm wondering if he's in this race currently. I haven't seen him on the racetrack.
And there's Josh. He's been passing the CV I don't see Causey in the race either.
Yeah, Causey came in here 7 points outside of the chase. And then you have to go back to Damien Linenger, who leads right now, and he is 26 points outside of the chase, which he is picking up a ton of points right now, leading all these laps. And he's in store for a possible good finish if he can hold on to this car and all the speed he's got.
Yeah, this has been a long time coming for Damien. He's had a tough start to the season here and in Erskine where I raced with him. So he's had speed every week, just not had a finish to show for it yet. So, he's got to be enjoying being up front here.
Yeah, and the other guy I was going to mention when it came to the grid, Gerald Campbell, 31 points out. He is not here. And then you have to go to Michael Goodman, who's 19th in the points, tied with Andrew Rucker, 38 points out. So, I mean, you got 3 or 4 of the guys that sit right on this bubble missing tonight's race for whatever reason that may be, but that is a pretty major problem for them when you got guys like Nick Massey, Vincent Isabella, and Hank Steinmiller, who are all really not that far in. They're going to grow that points gap big time after tonight, unless, of course, Damien Linenger wins this thing. Then you've got this whole chase grid flipped on its head, because Damien sits 26 points out, and he could be an upset winner here tonight at Homestead. I know it's still very early, but a 1.9-second lead, and he continues to rattle off the fastest laps out of anybody, lap after lap here.
Yeah, this could be a big nut for Josh Clark or Michael Goodman if they can get a solid impact top 10 run going here. We're looking at Michael Goodman's currently first.
And another guy right there, 2 spots in front of Michael Goodman there. Chad Frankenfield has had a solid season, 24 points to the good, pretty comfortable gap, and he runs 19th right now, qualified 18th, and he's gone nowhere. Usually you see that 15 Ford Mustang a little further up in the field during these races, well into the top 10 usually, but just doesn't look like he has the speed right now. He's still trying to run up top, and it's just not working out for him. Yeah. Chad is not having a great race.
I think a lap or 2 ago, he got pretty loose off the 2. He seems to be fighting him tonight. This could just be one of those nights where you just try and salvage a good impact finish and not junk it.
Yeah, exactly. And if he's thinking long run and thinking points, that's exactly what he's got to do. He's in a really good spot. Just crack off some 15th place, top 15 finish. Finishes here to round out the regular season. He'll be in good shape. And I also wanted to mention one more, and that's Vincent Isabella. It sits plus 19. He is 12th out of the 14 who can make it in the points. He is here tonight racing, and it just actually came down the pits in 30th, so it looks like a bit of a strategy call there. Maybe a 2-stop. You mentioned that could be a risky call, but he also looks like he got into the wall. So all sorts of problems possibly here for Vincent Isabella, but the way a lot of guys are missing tonight's race could really put him in a really good spot after tonight. But also at the same time, if Damien Linenger pulls this one off, he could be in a really bad spot.
And Damien's just doing his absolute best to pull this off. He's already pulled out a gap in about 2.5 seconds on Chris Wright. Honestly, I didn't expect him to get this far out in front.
Yeah, not only has he pulled that far out in front, he still is running the fastest laps on the track, lap after lap. He was the only guy to run a sub-36-second lap on the racetrack that time by. He ran 35.981, but you look back to his teammate Tyler Fode, who is known to be the long run specialist. He is all over the back bumper of Chris Wright, and I think Chris Wright is holding up Fode. So Fode's going to try to make quick work of him, but he hasn't really gone too much adventuring to try to make this pass. Let's see if he gets a run here out of 2, if he can make something happen, but doesn't look like he's got a huge run here. So Fode's still stuck behind Chris Wright as Damien Linenger continues to run quick lap times. Here goes Fode to the inside.
You know, the thing with Homestead having these multiple grooves is you really have to set someone up unless you're just significantly faster. And I think that's what we just watched happen. It took a lap or 2 to get the perfect setup.
Yeah, Fode gets around Chris Wright. He cut him a little bit of slack as well. But there goes Tyler Fode to position number 2. He's got to reel in his teammate now. As we close in slowly but surely on the halfway point of this race, we are about to complete 37 laps out of the full distance of 100. Also wanted to mention, had a couple guys pit. Matthew Weeks came in. We saw him pick up some damage from a close call he had with, that was Anders Krohn. Also Michael Daniel Martinez and Vincent Isabella have come in for tires on a short stop strategy. Bit of an extreme short stop strategy for sure. I'm assuming that why they're pitting now is because you can make it all the way to the end, so maybe they're pitting this one time and they're just going to go to the end and hope maybe they get a caution at the right time.
Yeah, I thought maybe my two-stop idea was a little crazy, but it's looking like it could be an option out there tonight, so maybe not.
Yeah, definitely some guys taking some risks.
Yeah, you know, if you're outside the top 10, this has got a really good green flag look to it. Feels pretty spread out, so why not try something different?
I think that is exactly correct, especially someone like Matthew Weeks, who's already got a win. He's locked in to the chase. You got Vincent Isabella, who's got a solid point gap and can afford maybe a 20th place finish and still get away with it. So, you know, and Michael Daniel Martinez is a part-time driver, so he's got nothing to lose pulling this strategy for sure. Brent Jones has also just hit the pit lane here now as we complete 39 laps.
Yeah, I say especially these top 5 drivers, they're all going to pit almost within the same lap. Once one of them comes, the other ones will too. You know, they have no other option. They don't want to lose too much time. I don't think either. So it's probably going to be right around.
Yeah, I expect them to run through lap 50 and then come down the pit lane. I think the best strategy for Damien Linenger here is to just watch what the guys behind him do. If he had a slim to none kind of gap, then maybe you'd have to jump first because you don't want to be out there a lap longer than everyone else. But with a 2.6 second lead he's got right now, actually 3 seconds flat at the line. Yeah, 3 seconds at the line. That's a really good gap that he can just watch them all come in behind him. And once you say Fode and Chris Wright and R.C. Enerson, the biggest competitors, come down pit road, then you come down the lap after, and you'll have the fresher tires for the long run, and you'll more than likely still have the lead because we're only running about 1.8 to 2 seconds off of our fastest lap times from the start of the race.
Yeah, this big lead that Damien's built is really going to pay off for him for these green flag stops, providing they all happen. He can actually afford to stay on the track a lap or 2 later because behind him he'll still be able to come out from the lead.
I want to mention Nick Massey just came down the pit lane. He was running up in the top 15. So Nick Massey in the 48 car is in. He came into this race 11th in the points, 24 to the good. And now also Thomas Sherman has moved past R.C. Enerson for 4th, and he's making a move for 3rd on Chris Wright. So Thomas Sherman, a guy in a must-win situation who's had a lot of bad luck this season, he is making moves to the front, and now he is easily up to 3rd. He is definitely cruising here on this long run. And as fast as these guys look coming through the field, like Fode and Sherman, who Fode has pulled a huge gap on the group from 3rd on back, he is still running slower lap times than Damien Linenger, who has just got half a tenth or so a lap faster than Tyler Fode.
Yeah, Sherman, he runs in Mercer as well, and he was one of those guys that was really good on long runs here. So he's evidently carried that over to this race. It's really paying off for him.
I would have to agree, and it just shocks me how lap after lap that 12 car is faster than everybody else, even Tyler Fode, who we saw save good tire, and then he passed those guys and moved back into second. He's got all sorts of clean air, and he is not reeling in that 12 car, Damien Linenger. And Fode, of course, comes in here, teammate to Damien Linenger, points leader with a really good gap and a really good chance to win the regular season championship, which is a huge advantage when it comes to playoff points and whatnot. You know, Fode has a 27-point gap on R.C. Enerson, who sits second in the point standings.
I'm very impressed with what Damien did on the run. When he went to the lead as quickly as he did, I was worried that he might have some fall off at the end of this run, but still pulling the gap. I mean, him and Fode are pretty much mirroring each other right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, last time by, Fode actually ran slightly faster, which is the first time I've seen that. And this time by, Fode ran slightly slower. Yeah. So they are now switching back and forth, but still impressive. I was thinking the same thing. I know Damien had the advantage of clean air for the most part, as you see him get by the lap car of Zach Evans. I mean, Damien's been, I thought, pushing too hard, but apparently not, because he still has some good long-run speed. Also, Anders Krohn just came down the pit lane. We saw him get some damage earlier. He's going to come down now as we close in on halfway. Zach Evans also diving off into the pit lane. I mean, and another thing I'm noticing is a lot of these guys aren't pushing out to the wall as much as I thought they would. You know, usually you see on an oval, you know, you'll run the bottom, then you'll come off the bottom and run right up to the wall. A lot of the time I see guys keeping it really low, as you just saw Damien do it on the front straightaway, and again here he was able to ease it all up to the outside wall. So probably still saving some tire here.
Yeah, that's the one thing with Homestead. You have to be protecting your tires every single lap. You know, honestly, some of these drivers, you know, I talked to a few of them before the race. They were actually worried the tires would wear out before they could finish the fuel run. So I don't think we have to worry about any blown tires. Most of these guys know they got to protect the right front especially, but it's a possibility here because we're coming up on what would be making this on just one stop. And
still some incredible lap times coming out of this top two. I mean, nobody's running better than a 36.4 except for the top three. And the only guy better than a 36.2 is your leader, and he's been under 36.2s for a couple laps, and Fode can't even match that. He's been running in the 36.2s and 3s, so I mean, just watching these lap times is incredible. I mean, Damien just picked up half a tenth on that last lap, and now he's got over a tenth and a half faster than Tyler Fode, and he's gaining half a second a lap on R.C. Enerson and Chris Wright and all them fourth on back. So, I mean, just some incredible speeds here.
Yeah, and looking back through the field, there was a few drivers that pitted on that first caution, but that's kind of inconsequential, you know, since it was just one lap. But Matthew Weeks here, he's 23rd. He's really the first one of those that pitted pretty early.
Yeah, he is on some of the oldest tires, 14 laps on them now. But the majority of the guys that have come in are on fresher tires than that. But still, it's the majority that has yet to pit at all. That's what we're seeing here. As Matthew Weeks, you've seen, as he charges around Tyler Fode, that's 15-lap-old tires versus 50-lap-old tires. And also Damien Linenger is about to bring it off at turn 4 to win that halfway playoff point, as he has now led across the halfway point. Chad Frankenfield also just came down pit road to split this race in half.
He's in the pits now, and I suspect we'll be seeing a lot of drivers very soon.
For sure, Jeff Green just dove in the pit lane. He's running inside the top 10, having a good run in the C2 Freight number 38 machine. And while we're looking at him, I want to give a shout out to C2 Freight, one of our primary sponsors here at the Elite Racing League. C2 Freight offers complete freight management services, and they are ready to meet your needs today as well as your changing needs in the future. With thousands of qualified carriers in their database, they're capable of handling shipping for every type of goods, from perishable foods to office equipment. whatever you need to ship. They have access to the necessary equipment, including flatbeds, double drops, vans, tankers, refrigerated equipment, multi-axle heavy haulers, dump trucks, auto carriers, intermodal containers, and more. And as I speak, Damien Linenger is in the pits. He is followed by Scott Crump, Thomas Sherman, and more. Richard Hines as well, who's been having a good top 15 run, is in. And here comes the horde, but still Tyler Fode on the racetrack. We'll see if he dives in now.
Looks like he's going to stay out for at least one more lap. It's going to be Massey getting his lap back here.
We just watched Chris Wright dirt track it out of turn 4. R.C. Enerson gets around Chris Wright for what is now second position as your leader has hit the pit lane, but still a lot of guys out on the racetrack. I mean, if you can't beat Damien Linenger based on speed, you got to do something, and they're staying out here for a couple more laps. We'll have to see how it works. If you get a caution right now, Damien's going to be forced to stay out, and he's going to be on slightly older tires than the rest of the field. So right now these guys staying out hoping for a caution.
Yeah, right now it's going to be a hairy situation on track where you have Nicks and drivers with fresh tires that are just significantly faster than those on older tires.
Trouble, turn 1. Chris Wright is around, and a caution comes out, and
exactly what I was talking about.
That could be a heartbreaker for Damien. He only did a couple laps, and also, I mean, he spun, but not all the way around, so I was honestly shocked that the caution actually was triggered, but it's automatic iRacing cautions, so you can't argue them. But Chris Wright got turned into turn number 1 and was about, I'd say more than probably about 90 degrees sideways, and then the caution came out, and that's another remarkable save. It was Jared Rexon got in the back of him.
Yeah, and that was right behind RC, who we were watching. So I got the Stay Tuned Sports Replay here. It's not much to show. He actually didn't spin it all the way, but we'll show it anyway.
Very minor damage to the left rear of his car and the right front of Jared Rexing's, but man, another remarkable save.
I'm very surprised the caution came out from that.
Yeah, it's not like there's a person here jumping on it when a caution comes out. No admin-controlled cautions here, and that was iRacing triggered, computer-generated caution. So we'll have to see. That shakes some things up because you got some guys on all sorts of strategies, but definitely lucking out is Tyler Fode. Thomas Sherman got probably the least amount of luck. He ends up a lap down, and he's going to get the lucky dog here on this caution. So he'll be at the rear versus Damien Linenger, who is on the lead lap. He has the option to stay out on the racetrack and be at the disadvantage of having older tires, but being at the advantage of track position. So we'll have to see what he decides to do as everybody up front comes down pit road.
Yeah, that worked out really well for Matthew Weeks, too. He snuck by on the lead lap with that.
Yes, he did, and Weeks is going to come down pit road. He had 20 laps on his tires, so definitely he wants to pit. But Damien Linenger stays out. He did about 2, 3, 4 laps on his tires, but he will be the leader on the restart, but at a definite disadvantage to these guys behind him. Tyler Fode comes out first, then it's going to be Enerson, Rexing, Chris Wright, and Hank Steinmiller.
Honestly, with Damien having a couple of laps on his tires, that may actually give the rest of the field a fair chance here.
Yeah, right. The way he's been driving, it's going to be close now for sure. This is anybody's race. I think Tyler Fode's in good shape if this one goes long. If we get some short runs, R.C. Enerson, he was the pole sitter, he started second. We know he has good short run speed. He led the most part of the first 10 laps or so. Also, Chris Wright, the pole sitter, has some speed. As a couple more cars are coming down the pit lane. So we're going to get timing and scoring updated here, though, but Damien Linenger will be the leader. Bunch of wave-around cars in front of him.
And while they're under caution, we'll throw it to commercial. We'll be back in just a moment.
Richmar Florist makes every day a special day, from weddings and large events to that little something for any occasion. Richmar Florist has the perfect floral expression, and they're open online 24/7 at richmarflorist.com. Everywhere, every day. Richmar's 2 retail locations offer a fantastic selection of floral creations, gifts, and home decor. Book your free consultation in our showroom for your special event needs, and visit us online at richmarflorist.com today.
Welcome back. Also want to do a shout out to SMRI Productions. Of course, this is the SMRI Productions Grand National Series. And SMRI is an independent record label and media company that exists at the intersection of creation, media, and technology. They focus on delivering comprehensive digital content with organic media for all of your digital needs. They also provide multiple avenues of content consumption, making sure that you're always in control. As a content provider, SMRI offers a unique, ever-growing catalog to fit your needs for any bespoke media desire. Also wanted to mention C2 Freight. Again, their EDI services, they offer electronic data interchange services, which allow shippers to keep close electronic tabs on their shipments throughout their freight movement process. For more information about EDI services or to discuss your needs for other specialized services, please contact C2 Freight. So getting ready for the restart, you see that freight train wave around cars going by. That includes Jeff Green, Scott Crump, Zishan Dura, Chad Frankenfield in there as well, running outside of the top 20 and more. But we're getting ready to go back green here for the Tilson 150 at the Homestead Miami Speedway. So on the restart here, to mention also, we had 3 cars stay out. Damien Linenger, his tires are 7 laps old, which includes the caution laps that we have just gone through. But Damien Linenger, 7-lap-old tires. Nick Massey on the inside. Damien Linenger is the control car. He elected to take the outside line. Nick Massey's on the bottom on 17-lap-old tires. Then you got Anders Krohn behind him in the black number 47. Restarting third is on 14-lap-old tires, so this could get messy. Green flag in the air. Damien Linenger takes off, and he's got his teammate Tyler Fode to follow behind him into second, and Jared Rexing on fresh tires. Also in third is R.C. Enerson and Chris Wright get held up on the restart on the bottom.
Yeah, this could play out pretty poorly. I just don't see him being able to hold on to the tires right.
Yeah, they're going to fall back quickly. They're hoping for a run that goes just enough laps that everyone has to pit and they don't lose too much, but we'll have to see how this goes. But you'll see they're falling back very quickly as Nick Massey currently sits fourth, but quickly R.C. Enerson to his inside. Currently clean throughout the field. Top 3 have sort of broken away. Damien Linenger, though, has definitely broken out to a pretty solid lead here. As he goes down the back straightaway, he's got his teammate Tyler Fode and then Jared Rexing behind him. Rexing does have a slight bit of right front damage from that contact with Chris Wright earlier that brought out the most recent caution. But still under green here, coming to 40 laps to go. And Damien Linenger, will those tires hold up? He was so fast in that first half of the race for that first run. I wouldn't be too surprised if he could still do what he just did on these slightly older tires. He probably had the slight advantage on the initial restart with the warmed-up tires, and they're already kind of broken in versus everyone else on cold tires. We'll have to see if he gets run down here as the laps wind down. But another thing I'm noticing is nearly nobody is running up against the top like we saw at the initial start of the race, so definitely seeing some change in how this track is being raced later in the run.
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys just saw how much quicker the bottom was on the long run. Now they're all just trying to stay there.
Interesting to see the track change like that. Definitely cool to see, though, but battle is on for fourth right now as Chris Wright is going to shoot into fourth position over R.C. Enerson. Enerson still trying that top line, which we saw him try it more than anyone else in the initial run before he eventually moved to the bottom. He's now kind of moving down a little lower, but he was running up against the top there on the restart. We'll see what he does now. As you see, guys still continuing to fall through the field. Nick Massey well outside of the top 10 now, as well as Anders Krohn.
Yeah, that was a little close there between Josh Clark and Nick Massey.
Yeah, that was some really tight racing between Brian Blauman as well in that group. Haven't talked about him much. He's having a solid 10th place run right now. He came into this race 7th in the point standings, pretty solidly in the chase. And I want to jump back up to the leaders right now because Damien Linenger, as the field behind him, those tires are warmed up and they're in their prime right now. Damien is feeling some heat.
Yeah, 6 laps on your tires will make a significant difference. I know Damien had them covered when they were on the same tires, but got a tall task to keep power 30.
And I can tell you one thing for sure, nobody wants to win this thing more than Damien Linenger. He knows that if he loses it, he's getting cheated out because of that caution flag being thrown on that half spin. And I mean, not anybody's fault. That just is how it is. That's the way she goes sometimes. And he's got a mirror full of his teammate. And I know one thing for sure, he is begging Tyler Fode to take it easy on him because he wants this thing won more than anybody. I remember back at Martinsville, I am on their team in the Cup Series, and when I got around him for the lead late in the race, man, I thought I was going to be in some trouble because he wanted to win that thing more than I did. I almost felt bad and gave it back to him, but we both ended up wrecking out anyway. So, you know, it is what it is sometimes, but Tyler Fode doesn't want that to be the ending. He wants it to end just like it did for him back there at Martinsville when he picked up the win. But here he comes. He is all over the back bumper of Damien Linenger.
Back here, I've noticed, I'm not sure if it's doing it on your screen, but R.C. Anderson seems to be going in and out quite a bit.
Yes, I'm seeing that on my screen as well. He's got some definite internet problems there. He doesn't have them very often. There are some guys that, you know, have more of a chronic internet problem that you see week in and week out, but RC is not one of those people, so hopefully that fixes itself here soon. Sometimes you just have a little spurt of blinking, but he's having a big spurt right now where he's going in and out quite a bit. David Tooker's having to carefully find his way around him.
That's what I was about to say. It's not only maddening for the driver it's happening to, it's maddening for those around him as well. It's because you're very unsure of where you can go on the track.
Yeah, it's the best form of defense is blinking because it is terrifying to have to battle someone, but it looks like it's actually calmed down now, so he's back solid again.
I was afraid we were going to lose him for a minute.
Top four, though, currently sitting under a blanket. Looks like one of those chain races you see at a local short track where all the cars are hooked together by chains, and Tyler Fode and Damien Linenger are hooked up, and then Jared Rexing and Chris Wright, who we saw make contact earlier. I'm sure Chris Wright isn't the happiest about that. You know, it was ruled a racing incident, and in my opinion, it sort of was. But when you're the guy getting spun off of somebody else's nose, you're not happy about it. So, here goes the battle for the lead. Tyler Fode to the inside into turn 3. We saw these guys make some contact earlier. They are teammates, but they both want to win this thing. Points leader Tyler Fode to the inside. He has the tire advantage over the Bat Flip Podcast Chevrolet of Damien Linenger. He works the bottom. Damien's going to have a run down the front straightaway. I don't think it's going to be enough here. Here comes Fode to the inside. Oh, Damien came down quick and tagged the right rear of Fode. Contact again between the two teammates, but Fode is clear with the fresher tires into the lead. Now Damien's got more company behind him. Jared Rexing and Chris Wright, 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, you've got to wonder if maybe that train up front because Damien was holding them all up just a little bit.
Yeah, I'd have to think that's what it is. I know Fode doesn't want to touch his teammate, doesn't want to make it too aggressive of a move. We still have now 31 laps to go, so he took it as easy as he could, and he made a clean pass on his teammate, so we'll have to see what happens from here on out. I know Fode's going to try and maintain that gap because he knows he has the tires and the speed over Damien, so what he's going to do is just watch his mirror, save enough tire to where, you know, he's not going to be jumped by Damien or Jared Rexing, but he's just going to maintain the gap where he can't make a move, and he's saving the most tire possible. Maybe once Rexing gets around Damien, which is probably inevitable to happen here in the near future, that's when Fode's going to put the power down and try to make a gap.
Damien's got to be locking away seeing his mirror, though. Chris Wright wants third right now.
Yeah, Wright's to the inside. R.C. Enerson's right there. I mean, these guys are on top of each other right now. It's a really close battle. Chris Wright has a great run. He's up to 3rd over Rexing. Let's see if he's got anything for Damien here as Fode's starting to build a little bit of a gap over 2nd place.
R.C. Anderson joining the party. David Tooker right behind him as well. One of the drivers is the main player there, Matt Tilson, Thomas Sherman. Then he'll work his way back up to 15. I'd say he's got to be highly frustrated.
Yeah, he got bit by that caution, wound up stuck a lap down, had to take the lucky dog under the caution flag there. He pitted with Damien Linenger right about the halfway point before the caution came out. Definitely upset, but I did want to mention the guy who's been rattling off the fastest laps on the racetrack the last couple of laps has been Ethan Barrow running 7th. Haven't talked too much about him, but he's been having a solid top 10 run. Came in here 6th in the points, already has a win on the season, so putting together a solid race.
Yeah, and Ethan's closing up on that train, running 2nd through 5th. Well, 2nd through 6th. So.
Yeah, David Tilson just reeled in that group even more. He's right on the back bumper of R.C. Enerson. Battle for 2nd. Here goes Chris Wright under Damien Linenger. Ooh, Wright's washing up the track a little. Damien forced to run pretty high up the racetrack. And on that seam, he gets loose. Got his right sides on that high up seam. Not the line you want to be running. And with that, Chris Wright to 2nd. And now here comes Rexing to follow suit.
That might open up the door for all these guys.
Wow, very loose there by Rexing. He got up and into the left side of Damien Linenger. Didn't see anything wrong doing on Damien's part. He was, fighting his fight on the outside line. He was up high enough to, give enough room to Rexing to slide up, and Rexing got into the door and lost a ton of ground. Now he's back fighting David Tooker as this group spreads out big time. Now it's R.C. Enerson to the inside in turn 1, but Linenger's going to chop his nose off there. Yeah. Not giving him anything for free.
Very loose as well. These guys are sliding all over.
So a lot of sliding around out of turn 4, but all that madness kind of just spread out this group pretty bad, and that is good for Damien Linenger because it's going to be easier to hold off when you just got one guy in your mirror versus 4. So Damien now just has to worry about R.C. Enerson, which he is defending well right now. Tyler Fody putting out some pretty quick lap times right now with 25 to go. We are 3/4 of the way into this race.
Yeah, I'd say Tyler Fody just wants to see this thing go green all the way.
Yeah, I think he'd be in good shape. We know he's got good long run speed. He was able to get by his teammate Damien Linenger quickly and go into tire saving mode quicker than Chris Wright was after it took him a few extra laps to get around Tyler Fody. So we'll have to see how this plays out. We very well could see another caution, especially with guys on different tire strategy. I think they definitely are going to be tough to get by, especially Damien Linenger. You know he's going to be fighting with all he's got to hold off every single car. So there's still a good chance of a caution, whether it's from that or from something else.
Yeah, and there's RC making the pass. It's painful to watch him pull back like this because you know he had the car to beat.
Yeah, definitely. He was the guy to beat. He had the field covered on that first long run and just got bit by an unfortunate caution. I mean, the only thing I would have changed if I were him is, he made the decision to pit on his own. If I were him leading the race with that big of a gap, I think I would have let the people behind me decide when to pit and just keep on the same strategy, because putting himself on a different strategy is, in the end, what unfortunately caused this. Of course, it's nothing you can predict when those cautions are going to fall. He just got bit by a really unfortunate timed caution. But, I mean, usually when you're leading like that, you just watch your mirror and you wait for the guys behind you to come down pit road, and then once they do, you know that you can pit a lap later and still cover them in the lead. And, you're not risking being on the wrong strategy and getting a poorly timed caution like what happened here to Damien. But definitely still could bring home a really good finish here, even with those older tires.
Oh, yeah, win or not, he needs a great finish tonight. So if he can just stay in the top 5, I know he's not going to feel like it.
And he needs all the points he can get, even if he doesn't win this thing, because, he had a couple no-shows that are right in front of him in the points, and he could pull off a really, really strong finish still. And, he got a lot of bonus points for leading laps. I think he's going to pretty much cover the most laps led, I do believe. RC led the first, I think it was like 10-15 laps, and then he led all. Damien didn't lead all through lap about 60-something, so I think Damien should be able to take the most laps led the way this is going, even if Bodie was to lead the rest of the way. So with all those bonus points and more than likely still a top 10 finish if he can put his head on his shoulders and just get what he can get and don't get too aggressive and take yourself out of it, definitely could still be a really strong finish here for Damien Linenger, and a ton of points on top of that.
And battle for second seat up here. RC Anderson's been able to close right up on Chris Wright's bumper here.
Yeah, he is right behind him there, and what is usually the number 50 car is showing a number 7 on your screens on the paint scheme, but he is the number 50. Of course, Enerson running really strong here in that Lucas Oil School of Racing Ford Mustang.
Yeah, speaking of a good points night, lurking back here in the back, part of the top 10, Josh Clark.
Yeah.
Putting together a good run.
Started 22nd and has moved up to 9th position, so a big move to the front here for Josh Clark, and he came in here -2 points behind Josh Robin, who no-showed. So if Josh Clark can hang on to a top 10, he's in great shape. And at the same time, the guy that is next up above Josh Robin, who is only +4 points to the good over Josh Clark, runs 1 position ahead of him. That's Hank Steinmiller, who's putting together a good run. He's actually looking to make a move here on, that's Jared Rexing in the 10 car.
Yeah, Hank's another one. He's been up front tonight. We just haven't talked about him at all. Just been in the back part of the top 10, taking care of his stuff all night.
Yeah, Rexing definitely has been having a solid run. Has not been running full time with us here. This is only his 4th start in the Grand National Series this season, as we got some really tight racing happening up there with R.C. Enerson, David Tooker, as Damien Linenger actually, did he get back around R.C. Enerson?
Yeah, he did.
He just did that lap, so I'm not sure what happened there, if Enerson made a mistake trying to get around Chris Wright or what, but Damien Linenger picks up a spot there, so definitely still got some fight in him in that number 12 Chevrolet.
Now I'm wondering if the tire started to battle. Very possible. He could make another charge here for second.
Yeah, I agree. That's very true. The tires could be plateauing and evening out.
Of course, all of them are running a little over 2 seconds behind Tyler Kirby right now. He just needs the same mistake green.
Yeah, he's picked up a 2.2 second gap into the number at the line. But still a strong run here for Damien. I mean, he's holding right up there with Chris Wright as these tires start to even out. And also, I think, in my opinion, we got to give Damien one thing tonight, and that is, in honor of opening day with the MLB being this week, that number 12 Bat Flip podcast, that car looks like a baseball. I mean, paint scheme of the race, to me, has got to be that number 12 car.
Yeah, I agree. I really like that scheme a lot. Got a few baseball schemes here in Philadelphia.
I think Vincent Isabella put one on.
Yeah, here it is. Vincent Isabella, he's having a rough night back in 28. He's got a pretty nice looking car as well.
Yeah, he unfortunately got trapped a lap down going for a short pit strategy there under the long green flag run to start this race, but he sits really strong in the point standings, trying to put himself in the chase here this season. Is Vincent. He comes in +19, and just for being here tonight, he's going to put together more points than all those guys that missed, and he'll be in okay shape going into the final 2 races. Still definitely not locked in any way, shape, or form, but we'll see how these next 2 races after tonight pan out. Still a lot of action left this season. Next week is Too Tough to Tame, the Lady in Black at Darlington, for a great race bound to be. That is a really challenging racetrack that is for sure going to put on a really good show. And that's where our Cup Series will be racing, as well as this SMRI Productions Grand National Series, as you see a close battle for second. And then to close out the regular season here, we got Martinsville. So that's going to be a hectic one for sure.
I think it's safe to say we're all pretty excited about it. Well, week for us.
Exactly. We got
looking forward to it.
exactly right. I'm very excited for that. Of course, got some cool paint schemes on tap. As man, Damien Linenger has moved back up into the second position on tires that are 4 laps older than these guys that he's racing against, and man, that's just beyond impressive what he's been able to do with that number 12 car. He's moved back up into second. Don't think he's going to be able to reel in his teammate without another caution. But that's what he's hoping for right now, is another caution ASAP, because he can't probably move any further forward position-wise before the end of this thing, because we are coming to 11 laps to go. But still a lot of hard racing throughout the top 10 of this field. There's bound to be some more contact the way we've been seeing these guys racing really hard.
See, I was trying to see if it was any lap traffic but we got Zishan Jordan and surprisingly Jenna Frankenfield is the last two cars on the lap. I don't know, but they'll get in the way of them though.
Yeah, lap cars have been really good tonight, getting out of the way when needed. A lot of guys have picked up some damage that have really hindered their progress. Chad Frankenfield, I mean, he was already struggling. He's got a ton of right front damage. He's obviously got a piece of the wall or something. So that's been a tough night for Chad. But either way, he's got a somewhat decent points gap on the end of the chase field. Again, he's not locked in any way, shape, or form. He's plus 24 coming into tonight. We'll have to see how everything fades out with all the guys missing races and whatnot. So Chad, though, 24th, not what he was looking for.
Guys that was up front earlier. He's worked his way all the way back to 11.
Yeah, it's impressive that he's worked his way up that far, but I mean, another just bad luck heartbreak for Thomas Sherman, a guy who deserves better than what he's been getting for sure week in and week out here.
Behind him, a pretty good recovery race here.
I just watched Jared Rexing beyond sideways out of turn 2. He's been losing tons of spots here since the restart. We saw him battling for a spot in the top 5. He just got his doors blown off by Josh Clark for, that is position number 8. So Rexing back to 9th. Next car behind him is 10th place Brian Blauman, who's had a pretty calm race. He's been racing pretty much on his own here all night long, which is not a bad thing, especially for a guy who's been pretty consistent this season with a pretty good point gap looking ahead to the playoffs. Yeah, that thing is snapping. He is sawing at the wheel every time he exits turn 2, especially.
I was going to say he's probably pretty happy to have a big gap back to team. Here he is trying to fight for 8.
Yeah, I want to say he's going to be able to hold on to that position number 9. I mean, we are now at 7 laps to go. So a pretty good gap back to Ryan Blauman in 10th. Also want to mention, good run right now for a couple guys. Dustin Dewer running in the 12th position in the Miss Goodies Chevrolet. He's having a really strong run there. Dusty Dewer, gentleman player, running 16th. Another good run for him. Richard Hines, he was running close to the top 10, but I think got caught out by that caution around halfway. He's in 19th now.
Still solidly in the top 20. Pretty good run.
So as we just hit the 1 hour mark of this race, we are coming to 5 laps to go. The race very similar to last week, almost the same, but we had 1 extra caution here tonight at the halfway point. But the lap 1 caution and then the halfway caution due to a half spin. That was a debatable caution even, so we've been very clean here tonight. But only 5 laps to go for your race leader, Tyler Fody. Looking to steal a win away from his teammate who was running identical lap times to him here in lap out on older tires. So very strong run here. If there was a Formula 1 style driver of the day, I think it would have to go to Damien Linenger. Got a feel for him for getting this race kind of stolen from him in a way that was out of his control. But Tyler Fody has been dominant this season, very consistently finishing within the top 5 and the top 10, but he has yet to win a race since the season opener at Daytona. So this will be
Chad Frankenfield on mirror here for flag runs. It's something you don't see very often.
Yeah, that's impressive that Fody's doing that right there. Chad Frankenfield definitely has not been having a good day here.
I do agree with you. However, driven it back up to second. On 6, 7 lap holder tires. It's an impressive run.
Yeah, for sure it is. Yeah, but, I mean, Tyler Fode has yet to win since the season opener at Daytona, and he is getting ready to win number 2 here if all stays green. He has had 7 top 10s. 7 top 10s in 8 races. That is extremely impressive. So, I mean, that's one of the most impressive statistics here. Actually, scratch that. He has 8 top 10s because you got to take into account his drop week is a top 10 finish. So 8 top 10s,
Gosh.
8 top 10s, and 6 top 5s for Tyler Fode. He has finished in the top 10 every race this season, which I did have that going for me in the Cup Series for a couple races, but I definitely didn't stretch it this long. And Tyler Fode is getting ready to keep that 100% top 10 statistic alive. This will be top 5, number 7, and win number 2. So very impressive for Tyler Fode this season. Damien Linenger, running a really solid second place right now, has not had that much luck. Only 2 top 10s. This will be his first top 5 of the season as we take the white flag. 1 lap to go in the Tilson 150 here.
So you can see lap times dropped off to about 2 seconds for the best laps. None of that matters to Tyler Fode now. He just wants to get back around to check the flag.
Closest battle on the track is for 3rd, but never mind that, as Tyler Fode, in the days gone by, Vintage Racing Apparel, Blue Egg number 40, is going to come home and be the winner at Homestead Miami Speedway. Tyler Fode wins the Tilson 150, 2nd win of the season. He expands his point lead even further. Lake Norman Motorsports to victory lane in a 1-2 finish. Damien Linenger 2nd. Chris Wright holds on to 3rd. R.C. Enerson in 4th, and David Tooker in 5th. Checkered flag. Great race here tonight, I have to say.
Yeah, it was fantastic all around. Safe. Junk it up after we crossed the line.
Teammates giving each other a little love tap after the finish. I mean, Damien's got to be respectful of that win. Also, Hank Steinmiller finished 7th position. 7th for Hank Steinmiller, 8th for Josh Clark are 2 guys battling for that border position in the chase, that last spot. So that's still going to be up for grabs, and Damien definitely picked up a ton of points. So it's going to be a really close battle for the last spot here, in the last couple spots in the chase. Here is your finishing order. Tyler Fode at the top of the scoreboard in a 1-2 finish for Lake Norman Motorsports. In the top 5, R.C. Enerson 4th, David Tooker 5th. And you got Thomas Sherman pulled off the top 10. He got by Brian Blauman there at the very end. Good top 12 finish. Dustin Dewer finished 12th.
Hey, how about David Westergreen, 14th?
Yeah, 14th, started 27th. David Carpenter, 15th as well. Another good finish.
Ethan Reeser, 17th. Good run for him as well. Michael Goodman rounding out the top 20. Looks like Kendall Noah Player may have had some issues there in the last few laps. He dropped back to 21st. I believe he would be the last car on the lead lap. And there's our finishing order rounding out. Chad Turnquist and Chuck Sweeting, they were both out early, I think, on that first lap incident.
But again, glad to see another week and another clean race here. I mean, we were clean at Texas, clean at Homestead here tonight. We were clean at Rockingham as well. I mean, that's really impressive. 2 cautions tonight, 1 caution last week. And, I mean, 5 at Rockingham isn't even too bad either. So, pretty clean races all around these last couple of weeks. Darlington next week definitely could go either way, but it's going to be exciting, that race, whether it's a caution fest or not. That's a really fun track, a driver's track, really. All right, we're going to bring up 3rd place finisher Chris Wright. Chris Wright, it's Ryan Gable up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, Chris Wright, it's been a while since you've got yourself a podium, but you've definitely been really consistent and really strong this season. Started on the pole here tonight, fell back but bounced back for a top 3 finish. Talk us through your race.
Pretty good race. A lot cleaner than what I thought it was going to be. Kind of, I don't know. I didn't feel like the top was very good tonight. There were some guys able to do it, but I think it just hurt the tires. But yeah, on the first lap, I just went down in there and I got sideways on the very first lap, so gave up the lead. Didn't even get the lead a lap, but we'll take it. Like you said, we've been consistently in the top 5 all season, just not up here in the top 3. Ready to get towards the playoffs here. I think we're highest in points of anybody who hasn't won yet.
Yeah, exactly. You are. You are coming into tonight. You were 1 point ahead of Chuck Sweeting, who was the next guy behind you, without a win, and he finished at the tail of the field. But overall, a really strong race from you. And with 2 races left in the regular season, you're really strong in the point standings. Are you just trying to bring it home decent to make sure you make it in this chase? Are you trying to go for a win? What's your goal here, running down to the end of the regular season?
You want to win. Everybody wants to win. You know, it's these races are hard to win. It shows tonight. I think, man, the 12 was the class of the field. Just the pit strategy didn't work out. Tyler's so good on the long run. I mean, these races here, I mean, they are super hard to win. There's so many good and fast guys out here. It's going to be pretty tough to get one. I think the 40 and the 37, Nick, Scott Crump, those guys are going to be really tough in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a stout field of guys. Once we get to the playoffs in 3 weeks' time, which starts at the Daytona Road Course on April 26th. But another great run for you, Mr. Wright, bringing it home. 3rd position, puts yourself way up in the point standings in a pretty much locked-in position as we head into the last 2 races of the regular season. Congratulations. Is there anyone you want to shout out or thank before I let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Elite for putting this on, the broadcast, you guys taking the time to do this every week, Belly Up Sports, everybody at Chairgating, Ruthless Motorsports, Brandon, Nick, Josh, Jeff Green, all of us guys work really good together. Still thinking about Brandon. Hopefully he can get back full-time pretty soon. I think he should be coming back in the next couple weeks.
Well, congratulations on the podium finish, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again in the near future. All right, that was your 3rd place finisher, Chris Wright. Let's move on up to your runner-up, Damien Linenger. Damien Linenger, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you. What's up, bud?
Well, Damien, you drove a heck of a race. You were probably the class of the field, but you got bit by an unfortunately timed caution. Talk us through your race.
I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed right now. I came to this race outside of the bubble, and I love this track, and thought we had a good one. Pulled out to, I think it was a 3.5 or 4 second lead right there, and pit stops were coming, and I had Fody behind me, and I was like, man, and it had the feel of just a green run throughout the race. I mean, it's hard to predict cautions, but the way everybody was spread out, and you just thought you were going to get a green run, and I was like, man, if I can get them by even a lap or maybe 2, that 4 second lead can grow. We're pushing 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds, sometimes even 3 later in the run. So hoping that went green, and then by the time I, would get out, I'd have a 7 or 8 second lead even, and I can just kind of, pace myself and not burn anything up. And if we got a late run at a caution, then we'd handle it then. But we got that caution right there, and it, kind of threw a wrench in it, and I just didn't have enough drive off right there, and Fody got behind me right at the right time where I had to battle some guys, and it allowed him to get out by the time I could finally get my car to kind of come in and try and chase him down.
Well, I know you got to be disappointed, but still a really strong 2nd place run. And with only 2 races left in the regular season, we got Darlington and Martinsville. You really closed up that gap. You came into tonight's race 28 points out, I believe it was, 26 points out rather. And after tonight, you are 16 points out of the tie for the last position between Josh Clark and Vincent Isabella. What is your plan? Are you going to go for points? Are you going to go all out and checkers or records here these next 2 weeks? What is your plan when it comes to making the chase?
I mean, you have to go out there and just go for a win. It's hard to points race, and it's hard to set a mindset for points racing. Obviously, you're not going to go out there and try and wreck yourself, but you're going to do everything you can to, race within your lines and potentially win it. But, Martinsville and Darlington are 2 more tracks I really like, so hopefully we can pull in enough points, but for sure want to try and get that win so we don't even have to worry about the points.
Sounds like a good plan to me. Well, congratulations on the runner-up, even though it may not seem like you deserved it. You deserved more, and is there anyone you want to thank here before I let you go?
Yeah, just thank all the L&M boys, Tyler and Hank. They were right with me tonight, and Ryan Lutz. I mean, he's not able to race right now, and he wasn't on the box, but he did a lot of coaching with me and just telling me to be patient on that first seam and trying to coach me up as much as I can throughout the week, preparing me for this. He's really a big supporter of trying to get me into this playoffs. Chad, everybody that puts on this league, it's fun racing when we get races like this. You guys for broadcasting this and just everybody that tunes in.
Well, congratulations again for the runner-up, and we're bound to see you in victory lane soon.
Okay.
That was your runner-up, Damien Linenger, and we're going to move on to your race winner here, Tyler Fody, his teammate. Tyler Fody, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Tyler, you drove a heck of a race tonight. In my opinion, were you the best car on the track? Well, it was close between you and your teammate, Damien Linenger. When it came down to it, what was the difference between you guys?
It's that caution, man. It's bittersweet for me because Damien, to me, was definitely the class of the field. That first run, he was about a tenth faster. Every lap or two, he'd get a little farther away. So, I was definitely content with just running second if that thing went green the rest of the way. But Damien came in, and then I think we went 2 more laps maybe, and I was getting ready to come in, and we had the yellow. So that's really what made the race for me. Just having a couple lap fresher tires there. Even still, once Damien got clear of everyone, I didn't really pull away from him there in the end. It's because of the caution, but, I'll take it, but I feel bad for Damien.
Yeah, definitely tough to have to beat your teammate like that, but you really didn't have much of a choice. You had the speed there in the end, and you were able to get it done. But either way, this is your first win since the season opener at Daytona, and has now put you out to a fairly large lead in the point standings. You're looking like all but locked up here for the regular season championship, so you got to already be thinking ahead to the chase. And what is your thought on your chances of making it through all the way to the end?
I like my chances. The regular season title's always the first step. Normally that gives you a pretty solid cushion to at least get through the first round. But anything can happen. I like my odds though. We'll see how it goes.
Well, congratulations on win number 2. And is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Shout out the team, of course, Lake Norman there. Hank even ran a solid race, qualified top 5, and just missed the top 5 there in the end, finishing 7th. Obviously, Damien showed some really impressive pace tonight. I'm glad we got the 1-2 in the end. I got to thank Days Gone By and Blue Egg Marketing for being the sponsors for me all year. So go check them out. Awesome couple companies there. And shout out to you guys, too, for doing this broadcast tonight.
Yeah, well, congratulations again on the win, and we'll be talking to you again soon, I'm sure. All right, well, Jordan, had ourselves another good, clean race here for the SMRI Productions Grand National Series. That was race number 9. Only 2 races left in the regular season. We got Darlington next week and Martinsville the week after. I mean, what were your thoughts of that race?
I thought we just saw another great mile-and-a-half race here. It's, Elite puts on probably about the best mile-and-a-half racing on all of iRacing, and I just think we saw another one of those races play out perfectly.
I completely agree with you there, Jordan. That was a fantastic, clean race that I enjoyed getting a call with you, and we'll be back at it again next week. We are at Darlington Raceway for the Darlington Throwback 200, so we'll get to see some really cool throwback paint schemes as well that we'll get to look at each and every one of them. And I'm excited for that race. And then, of course, it's going to be wild, 150 laps at Martinsville to close out the regular season. So we'll see you guys next week for 200 miles at Darlington. Thank you all for watching here on the Elite Racing Network. I'm Ryan Gable, and for Jordan Owens,